Is the midweek edition of the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. It promises to be a bumper edition, but only if you get to be a part of it. So welcome aboard, guys. My name is Vivian Oguche, and like we said, I'm not flying solo. I got a beautiful lady in black right opposite me, Sarah. Good morning.
Good morning, Vivian. You look absolutely stunning in this green, and I love the neck piece.
Oh, thank you so much.
Just compliments your dressing.
Oh, for me, the clincher is your makeup. It's just flawless. Flawless is what I'm going to be calling you throughout today. Flawless.
Oh, okay. Vivian is about to bust my head, but welcome to the program. Like she said, it's the midweek edition, Wednesday, the 30th day in the month of October. Rather, yes, October.
Yeah, it's October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Right.
It's the end of October.
Yeah, by tomorrow we'll be in the last day of October. Friday, we're saying hello, November.
Oh my God!
So welcome to the show. I am Sarah Osanza, and I hope you're ready for a very, very smooth and interesting ride this morning. I was sighing a lot this morning while getting my makeup done, and I was like, Sarah, what is happening? I said, I don't understand. Fuel price has gone up again.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And in Lagos, it is set to sell for 1,060 naira. That is very outrageous. On my way to the office this morning, I saw a particular fuel station already had people queuing. This was at about 6 in the morning. And I'm like, so we're about to get into another phase. So if NNPC is selling at 1,060 naira in Lagos,
imagine what the other
independent marketers will sell. We should be looking at 1,001, 1,200 naira for a liter. The last fuel I bought on Friday, I bought it for 1,050 naira for a liter.
That was last Friday?
Yes, that was last Friday. And if I want to go back now, if I'm not buying it from NNPC, I might be buying it for 1,100, 1,150 naira, thereabouts. It's not something that made me feel very excited this morning.
I know, right?
I felt very burdened, and I was sharing with you that yesterday, while in the evening, while taking a walk, I lost count of the number of street beggars.
Yeah, you said so.
I encountered. Everybody now is struggling. People tell you, even if it's just 100 naira, just give me something to eat.
Yeah. You know, and when you told me this, and I'll tell you that, it just reminds me of what Olumide said on air yesterday when he was talking about palliatives for the vulnerables. And then Olumide now said almost everyone in Nigeria is vulnerable. Yeah.
Honestly. But that's just to welcome you to the program. We did not mean to welcome you like that, but that's what is happening. And you know that on the show, we give you banters and etiquette, newspaper review, views from the net, trendy story. We also have conversations with our guests, and we take your calls as well. Fuel price has been increased. I'm sure you want to call us to let us know your thoughts. But before that, let's quickly look at banters and etiquette. Now, welcome to Banters and Etiquette. This morning, we're talking about something very important. Interview etiquette. It cannot be overemphasized. Everybody has had to go for an interview at one point in time of their lives, I beg your pardon. And you ask yourself, what are some of the things that I need to take note of when going for an interview? Now, when we say interview etiquette, it simply means it is essential for creating a positive impression and ensuring effective communication during job interviews. Now, adhering to proper etiquette not only reflects professionalism, but also increases the chances of success. Below are key aspects of interview etiquette. The first thing is preparation. Research the company, understand the organization's missions, values, and culture, as well as know the job description. Familiarize yourself with the role and its requirement to tailor your responses. This is very true. You don't want to go for an interview without having a foreknowledge or an understanding of the company you're going to apply to, what exactly they expect of you, your job description, your role. I've seen people go for interviews and they don't even know the role there. They just say, I saw the invite, or I saw the creative out. Some know what they are applying for, but they're like, I just said, let me try. I've not done this before, but I just want to try. I'm like, This is not a game of trial and error.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. And I remember that you had shared one time how it worked for you.
Yeah.
You did some small research before you went for an interview, and it worked out well for you. It's something that we should always do, yeah?
Very true. Now, you want to give us the next one?
So we also talk about dressing appropriately, right? Know where you're going to, and then know how you should dress. Choose professional attire that aligns with the company culture, whether it's formal or business casual. Do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yes, because I would go back to an experience I had in 2019 where I went for a job interview, wear a lot, and this person shows up in, so it's okay to wear traditional attire, but it has to be complete. So if I'm going to dress, and it has to be neat. It has to be, if I know, okay, I want to wear native, that's the common term for an interview, I have to make it complete. If I'm also going to wear corporate, I have to dress really corporate. And this person shows up in native Ankara with flip-flops, like the very casual flip-flops you wear to the market. Not really combed hair.
Oh, gosh.
And in my head, I was also there for the interview. I dressed corporate, I wore my heels, and in my head, I'm like, what exactly could have been playing out in this? Because I'm not even an employer, but if I was in the position of an employer, the dressing alone is a turn off for me. It's a no. So sometimes we need to also understand, one of the things people also do to get attention of employers is understanding the color. So some people, when they're going for an interview in an organization and they get the logo of the organization, they work with the brand color. It's not to, sometimes it's just to show that, oh, I know about your brand. I familiarize myself with your brand. I want to be a part of your brand. When they also understand the kind of job that they do in that company, some people want to dress in that light. You know, you should be able to enter the place, your room or whatever, where you're having the interview. And when you enter, the interviewer should be like, okay, yes, your presence and your dressing alone command some sort of confidence and respect.
That's the thing. I like the fact that you used the word confidence. So it makes the interviewee very confident.
Yeah.
And then it makes whoever is interviewing, what you're doing is appealing to the emotional side of that person to say, I know your color, I checked you out, and I identify with you.
Yeah.
So
if I'm an employer and you do that, you've won. Somehow you've just won a spot in my heart already.
That's the emotion.
So I'm a little, okay, I want to see what you have. You've already captured me.
You've already been softened.
Yeah.
So you tend to smile, you tend to be light, you tend to be easy on the person.
Yeah. So we're giving you all these tips. We hope that you learn. Another thing to look out for is punctuality. This is very key. Arrive on time, ideally 10 to 15 minutes early. This demonstrates respect for the interviewer's time and your enthusiasm for the opportunity. We can't overemphasize this. It's very straightforward. You don't go for an interview and you're running late. If for any reason at all, unforeseen circumstances,
like traffic,
anything could happen. You could have a wardrobe malfunction while stepping out of the house.
That happens, yeah?
Yeah, there could be traffic that you did not plan, probably left your house 1 hour earlier. Anything could happen. The ideal thing is have some sort of communication. There was either an email address or a number that reached out to you for the interview. Just reach out. I am sorry, this, I am on my way. Not just staying silent, but if you can, by all means, get there very early. There
are some very strict people who wouldn't even...
They don't care.
They don't even care. If you like, communicate from morning till night, they wouldn't even listen. Yeah. So to play safe, if you're living in a place like Lagos where you have traffic all the time, sometimes unannounced, do well to start up from your home 2 hours or so before the interview.
Very true. I've had to wait almost an hour for an interview, because I got there 1 hour before. So
and it worked for you, right?
Yeah, I waited. And funny enough, they didn't even start the interview at the time they said they were going to start it. So that was waiting for like 1 hour, 30 minutes.
But it's better than coming late.
Yeah,
absolutely. True. Well, Sarah just talked about, did you talk about body language?
Punctuality.
Sarah talked about punctuality. Let me talk about body language for a minute. Maintain good posture, make eye contact, and offer a firm handshake to convey confidence and engagement. This thing about body language, for example, if you sit with your back drooping, You know what that says? Like defeat. But if you sit up straight with your head held
Chin
high,
up.
you chin up. It says a lot.
Right.
Yeah, you want to wrap this up?
Yes, the last things to look out for very quickly, active listening, very important. Answer questions, respond to questions clearly. Use the STAR method. The STAR method is situation, task, action, and result. Also, ask questions. I like when I see people that ask questions during interviews. They also want to know about you. Your interviewer would ask you, do you have any question? Have something. Ask something, so it shows that, okay, I'm interested, I want to know. Okay. Also, follow up. It's okay to follow up if you've not gotten a feedback, but send a thank you email within 24 hours of the interview, expressing appreciation for the opportunity and reiterating your interest in the position. And the last thing to look out for interview etiquette is be yourself. Authenticity can set you apart from other candidates. While maintaining professionalism, let your personality shine through.
I like that.
Be yourself.
It's a good one.
Don't try to
become someone else.
Yeah, just be you. Flow. Don't lie. They might
People
ask
do
you
that.
a question. Yes, and you say, oh yes, and then you shoot yourself in the leg, and maybe they put you to a test and you can't do it. But we hope you have learned a lot of things, in this segment, Banters and Etiquette, and we gave you interview etiquette. That's it on this segment. We'll take a very quick break. We'll be back with the newspapers for the newspaper review. Just stay with us.
Well, it's a breakfast cafe right here on High Impact TV. My name is Vivian, and right opposite me is Sarah. This segment is called Newspaper Review, where we get to take a look at the national dailies. I begin with the Daily Trust, a major headline. Customers express frustration as banks' IT glitches linger. A couple of riders to that story. Development widening trust deficit. Development widening trust deficit. The second rider says upgrades have messed up small businesses. This is coming from NASME. I am one of the people who has been affected or who have been affected by these IT glitches in the banking sector. It is so frustrating, and now business people are saying that it's affecting small businesses.
Yeah, because I've heard a couple of people say, so I was to patronize a particular vendor, and I made a transfer, sent the receipt, and apparently the vendor's bank was having issues at the time, and she kept reaching out to me, and I'm like, the money has left my account. So I said she had a lot of it like that. People had sent money to her, and somehow it was just floating, but eventually it came in. This has lingered for a couple of weeks now. I use a particular bank that was experiencing or is experiencing this glitch, and I just had to move everything that I had from that bank because I couldn't go through the whole back and forth. But this is taking a toll because these days you find people saying, I'm going to the bank, I have pending transactions. I made a transfer or somebody sent some money to me, it hasn't come in, I can't make use of my mobile banking, can't make use of this and that, and you ask yourself, why is this lingering for so long?
Is it rocket science? It isn't. Please, banks, fix it.
Apparently some of them are going through some sort of upgrade.
Yeah,
that's why they are facing this problem, and we have it here that the upgrades have messed up small businesses.
And it has, and they should put themselves in the shoes of the customers. It really isn't a good thing.
Also, are we saying that the banks could have done the upgrade before now? if they had done the upgrade before now, would we have avoided something like
this?
These are things to look out for.
And that's a very good question, food for thought, if you ask me. Well, let's continue with this one. It's a picture here, and I'm curious. I want to find out, what is it? See, lots of people in the boat, and what catches my attention is there is no one wearing a life jacket. So what happens if something bad happens? We're not praying for that. But let's find out what it is. This is Abuja, and these are members of a community in the Abaji area council of the FCT crossing the River Gurara in a canoe on their way to the Abaji market. This happened yesterday.
It's not even safe. We're talking about boat mishaps here and there, and there are even a lot.
It's overloaded.
Yeah, a lot of people on this boat, no life jacket, some are even standing.
No, it's a no-no. Well, we do hope something is done about this swiftly. Above the masthead, Osun APC suspends Aregbesola over anti-party activities. I don't know, Sarah, but I saw this coming.
Well, I'm very indifferent about it.
I know, right?
Politics.
It's not your piece of cake.
No, it's not as though it's not my piece of cake. It's just that anything can happen.
Absolutely.
You know, you sleep today and you wake up tomorrow, and the enemy of one person
becomes the friend
of that person. So it's just politics.
Absolutely.
I hope they resolve the anti-party crisis and all of that.
How do they say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Oh, gosh. Well, let's go on with this other one. It's still on the front page of the Daily Trust. Sultan is alive, Sultanate Council says. Apparently, there was a rumor that the Sultan was dead, but he is alive, is what the Sultanate Council is saying. This other story says, gunmen sack 23 communities in Niger. You know, it wasn't too long that we had this conversation, Sarah, on this platform, that one of the gains this administration was riding on was the quashing of insecurity, where they talked about neutralizing commanders of the terrorists. I see the smile on your face.
No, because even the president said it during his October 1st national broadcast to the country that his administration had fought insecurity. I think about 300 Boko Haram insurgents.
Commanders have been neutralized.
Yeah, so and then you put what the president and the administration at large is saying, and you put the reality side by side, and you see, you don't need anybody to show you that it's not in tandem.
We do hope that these communities that have been sacked are reinstated into their communities, is what we are hoping for. This other story on the front page of the Daily Trust says Ogun Shots School suspends principal over students' deaths. That's rather unfortunate.
Yeah, this story, I saw it, I think it was sometime last week. Apparently, based on what I heard, I think the student was flogged by a teacher. It's not 60-something times. Producer, please remind me. The student was flogged flogged really hard by the teacher, and I think the student lost consciousness, and before they could take the child to the hospital, the child was dead. And according to reports, they said the school or the principal said they should go and bury
the child without the consent of the parents.
So that's caused some sort of uproar, and it's just should not, you don't beat, under no circumstance should you try to discipline a child to that extent. And I saw the video of a woman calling out on the Ogun State government, the Ministry of Education, that this particular case must not be swept under the carpet. Suspending the principal, shutting the school, it's not enough. We've had cases like that in Lagos, where there were some schools that, I'm not going to mention the name, they were shut down over bullying cases where a student actually died as well. And it has been dragged for a long time. The families are saying they've not even gotten justice. So we need to go beyond shutting schools, suspending principal. No, a life has been lost.
Why are they suspending the principal and not the teacher?
So apparently, based on what I've been getting, they were asked to bury the boy.
Oh, the principal asked, yes.
They were asked to bury the boy, and that's just off.
Yeah, it's off. I smell rat here. But the thing is, Sarah, this thing about flogging, don't you think is outdated?
Well, people ride on the thing of spare the rod
and spoil the child.
But everything has limits.
Yeah.
You should know when to actually, as much as I want to correct my child, or I want you to correct my child, I don't want to cry over that child.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to cry over their child. So you need to, and it's not every time that Ken does it.
Ken doesn't even do it. That's what I'm saying.
You will
Ken never did it for me.
You will meet people that they will tell you highest thing, you will flog me.
That's the thing.
They are used to it.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to change. So people are devising new strategies, new punishment. Parents are coming up with funny corner, go to funny corner, or they see some of their gadgets. But if you come down to school, there are schools that do not allow teachers make use of cane.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a public school here. There should be other forms. I know then they have, you cut the grass, you sweep the staff room.
Exactly.
You know,
that works. And now what you just described is a correctional measure and not even a punishment. I'd rather do correctional measures than punishment.
I
that
beat
works.
a child this way.
No, gosh, it's unheard of, and it must be stopped. And this particular case must be looked into and pursued to a logical conclusion. Now, this other story on the front page of the Daily Trust says that, again, petroleum prices or petroleum price rises. It's just the way Sarah said it. Again, it means it's been happening over and over again. This one here says 750 million raised as Tinubu unveils Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem. Last but not least, on the front page of the Daily Trust, power outage. Bandits targeting Shiroro's 330 kV lines for long. That's coming from locals. And that wraps it up for us on the front page of the Daily Trust.
Yes, you can be a part of the conversation. 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Fuel price has been increased again. Do well to call us. Let us know your thoughts. And if that increase has been effected in your area, let us know. Now, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper. And I like the way they put this headline. They say, petrol price up third time in 60 days as crude price drops. 60 days, that's about 2 months. So in 2 months, we've had the petrol price go up 3 times. There are a lot of riders to that story. We see that it's selling for Lagos at 1,025 naira per litre, 1,060 naira in Abuja. Experts have reacted. CSOs have urged Nigerians to revolt against petrol price increase.
Wow.
How exactly do you want us to revolt?
That's a strong statement.
Has our voice been heard so far? So let's see. Tinubu Dangote asks stakeholders in oil industry to stop reliance on importation.
Do you want to say that again?
Tinubu Dangote asks stakeholders in oil industry to stop reliance on importation.
So President Tinubu is joining his voice with that of Dangote now. Okay.
For all the details, page 5, Vanguard newspaper. Above the masthead, MPA halts container release at Apapa Port due to severe congestion. That's on page 20. In education news, federal government yet to reach out to us, says striking varsity unions as Unilorry, UNN, others join strike. This strike began on Monday.
Yeah.
SANU, NASU. And I saw a video where the president, I think before he got into office, was talking about how there will not be
strikes. Yeah.
But this is what we have.
Yeah, but the strange thing for me is the federal government is even yet to
reach out to them.
Yeah, why?
They've not heard from them. Normally, you'd expect that, no, this is a very important sector. They would reach out, address them, have conversation, reach a negotiation, sign a memorandum of understanding, and meet their demands. But beside that story, government and media must unite to move Nigeria forward. That statement is credited to our Vice President, Kashim Shettima. Government and media must unite to move Nigeria forward. I think you also have a role to play, and all the leaders at the helm of affairs have roles to play as well. Bandits take over military camp in Niger. Do you see that conflict?
Yeah.
Bandits take over military camp. We're not talking about a normal military camp. So our military camps, our uniformed men are no longer even safe, and it feels like they've taken over. They are constantly attacking our military officers, and
that concerns me.
That's a big blow to our security architecture as a nation. if bandits can now conveniently attack camps of our military men.
Yeah.
Then nothing else.
And then this thing about the media calling bandits is faulty. No, I remember. Okay, before I continue with my line of thought, we got Michael from Abuja. Michael, so glad to have you on board today. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Michael. We can barely hear you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Vivian and Sarah, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk about the new government back in the 23 communities and Nigeria. I was, as I'm talking to you now, I had whether 42,000 I had a plan of going to my place.
Michael, please turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a smooth conversation.
My TV is off. I'm not even.
There's a feedback we're getting, but okay, proceed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
I had a plan of yes, I want to go to my place because it has been long. But you know that why I have changed my mind, insecurity of what is happening in my place. Every day we keep hearing video, voice calls of killings in schools, in community, 9 even dead time in my place, presently. Somebody will tell us that all those people have been defeated and their leaders have been killed and all of that.
So this is Abuja.
Exactly.
We're talking about Abuja right now.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
So we're talking about Abuja now, because you're calling us from Abuja.
My place, I'm not, I just stay in Abuja.
Where's your place?
Yes, my place.
Where is that? Where's your state? Where's your place? This place you're talking about. We just want to know.
I'm from Mecca for this local government. I'm in a good state.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
As I'm talking to you now, every day there is this WhatsApp group of people from that particular place. You hear videos, you hear old poets know that people are talking about insecurity, how they communities, kill people. Like 3 days ago, they infected school. 2 how many children in that time? We have a particular group that was being sponsored by this community people, like people that are maybe that are based abroad, outside of those states that was sponsoring those people. The government disbanded those people. He took over first, said that he was going to be empowering them, and governor he said to be empowering them, giving their arms and all of that to fight the security. Before you know it, like after 3 months, they disbanded them.
Right.
Before people cannot even sleep now with their 2 eyes in that place.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for bringing that to our notice and for sharing your thought. Thank you. You know, Michael is just going on to emphasize that insecurity has not been curbed.
Yeah.
Insecurity is getting more intense in the country. You know, every day we come on the show, every day we read the national dailies. If people are not being kidnapped, people are being killed, villages are being razed, people are being attacked. There's just always something across different communities. And you ask yourself, so what is the yardstick that this administration is using to measure or judge the fact that they have been able to contain insecurity?
Absolutely.
Right, but let's move very swiftly. Joe Biden supports Nigeria's quest for UN Security Council seats. Thanks Tinubu for freeing Binance executive. Politics.
Yeah.
Details, page 9. House of Reps probe Ekwechegwe over assault on Bolt's driver. This story has been trending as well. We saw one of the House of Rep members verbally and physically assaulting a Bolt's driver, and it has generated traffic. He has apologized, but you ask yourself, that doesn't cut it, because he kept saying, do you know who I am? I would do this to you and I can make you disappear or something. Yeah. So those are very strong statements, and I hope that this will not just slide and say, oh, he has apologized. No, that's not going to be enough. Yeah,
but since he's eating the humble pie and he said, I won't do it again.
Nah.
So what do you expect, that he should be prosecuted?
Yes, he should be. That's a very strong. I watched the video.
Yeah.
And according to...
It was painful to watch.
Yes, I watched the video and I'm like, no, this should not just go like that. Do you know who I am? Okay. We're talking about abuse of power now, right? And he kept saying, can call the IG, can do this, you can do that.
Yeah.
Come on. But, okay, we see some pictorial representations here. Tinubu meets Naira crude sales community and Shetima receives NGE leadership. Lastly, sports page 39 has this. WAFU Under-20 Cup. Nigeria-Ghana rekindle rivalry as Flying Eagles battle Black Satellite in final. But that's it on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, so I'll quickly take The Guardian. Major headline on the front page says, States poor IGR raises fiscal sustainability concerns. And then we have these infographics here, looming large on the front page of The Guardian. And basically, it's talking about states IGR hitting 2.3 trillion naira and how citizens grapple with uncertainty. You want to grab a page, what's it called, a copy of The Guardian, and take a look at the front page. You have it in detail. Then you have this one here. Reps query permanent secretary over 1.4 billion naira abandoned road project. That's big deal. Go straight to page 4 for details. We also have this one here. It says documentation stalls ministerial nominees screening. Page 3 has details. Also, this story goes with a picture of the president. It says, Naira for crude, Tinubu seeks stakeholders' understanding as fuel price rises. Page 6 has details of that. Petrol consumption hovers at 50 million liters per day amid deregulation and smuggling. Business page 15 has details of that story. Telcos losing billions of naira to vandalism as NCC audit shows subscription shortfall. Page 18 has details of that story. FG seeks regional cooperation against small arms IED threats. Let me take that again. Federal government seeks regional cooperation against small arms and IED threats. Page 3 has details of that story. We have more. Stakeholders urge caution, review of tax bill for consensus. Stakeholders urge caution and review of tax bill for consensus. We saw yesterday how the North, both the monarchs and the governors came together to say no to the tax reform bill. Yeah, we also have this one, is the last one on the front page of The Guardian. It says, Nigeria and US set up early warning situation room for conflict resolution. Sarah, this is concerning. It says the US and Nigeria, they are setting up a situation room for conflict resolution. What does it tell you? It means they are foreseeing conflict.
Right. We're taking proactive measures.
Yeah, taking proactive measures. So it's a good one. It's a good one for the proactive measure. And that wraps it up for us on the front page of The Guardian.
We'll take the Punch very, very quickly. And this one says, again, NNPCL hikes petrol price, fixes 1,060 naira per litre as refinery faults for import as Tinubu summons Edu, Dangote and Kiari. Details on page 3. Above that, 17 northern states blackout to end November 12. That's from the federal government. Stop ad hoc dollar auctions. World Bank tells the Central Bank of Nigeria. Page 17 has the details. On page 19, we see this. Page 18, rather. 32 states got 55% of revenue from FAAC. Talking about Ondo polls, APC fault protesters demand for Rex transfer as Ajayi also vows to stop Ayetoro Sea incursion. Both stories on page 27. 2025 budget, Tinubu summits MTEF to National Assembly next week. That's on page 7. Lagos Calabar Highway, Lagos Community Homeowners Fault Route Diversion. Pages 4 and 5 have the details. And lastly, anti-party, Aregbesola camp mom as APC suspend ex-governor. Page 28 has the details, and that's where we'll call it wraps on the review of the front pages. We'll take a break and we'll be back with our guest to analyze some of the headlines. To stay with us.
Every year, thousands of people lose their lives to road crashes, which has been attributed majorly to negligence and drink driving. Alcohol increases risks of road crashes, poor judgments, and decision-making while driving, lack of coordination and decreased vision, amongst others. Remember, you have a family waiting to welcome you back home. It is better to arrive late than never. Do not drink and drive. This message is brought to you by High Impact Television.
Welcome back to the newspaper review. We've taken a look at the stories on the front pages of the Punch, the Guardian, the Vanguard, and the Daily Trust. And do not forget, you can keep your calls coming in. Do well to let us know. Fuel price has been increased to 1,060 naira in Abuja and about 1,025 naira in Lagos. Let us know your thoughts on this. This is the third time the pump price is being increased in 60 days. Disturbing, concerning.
Yeah.
Call us 0812-182-0154. You'd like to contribute, tell us anything else, about things happening in your area. We're here to take your calls. Let's talk about electricity for a bit before our guest hops on. We got this update about how some northern states have been in darkness
for over 9 days now, yeah.
For a long time. And we have two conflicting reports now. The Punch newspaper says 17 northern state blackouts ends November 12th. Which is about in 2 weeks' time. That's coming from the federal government through the Minister of Power, person of Adebayo Adelabu. But the Vanguard newspaper says power will be restored to the north in 72 hours. That's coming from the federal government. And they've also said the attacks on the transmission lines is an act of terrorism. and I just laugh. So we know that there are things like this. Now, they are the ones saying that this is an act of terrorism. But then they keep saying, oh, we're fighting security, particularly in the north. I remember the president said particularly in the north. Yeah. But we're not seeing anything like that.
Absolutely. We are not seeing anything like that. And it's a good point you just raised. Now, they are laying this at the doorstep of the bandits, which brings me back to what I was going to say before Michael from Abuja called earlier on. Now, these people you call bandits are actually terrorists, which brings us back to what you just said. The federal government is saying that vandalizing these lines is an act of terrorism. A Supreme Court in Nigeria has labeled these so-called bandits terrorists. They should be called terrorists, because if you don't call them terrorists and you call them bandits, there is a level of punishment that you can mete out to bandits. But if you know these are terrorists, you can mete out a particular punishment meant for terrorists. So this was explained to us on our sister channel station, I beg your pardon, High Impact 102.1 FM, by a security expert. So I think the nomenclature should be brought into perspective, and the bandits should be called terrorists.
Right. Yeah. And we're talking about blackouts now, and the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, is one of the ministers that a lot of people have been saying, I don't know why he was not part of the ministers that the president discharged over the numerous incessant grid collapse that we've been experiencing. I've lost count of the number of times the national grid has collapsed this year alone. And he has come out to say that for the north, 17 states that are affected will still remain in blackout till November 12, saying that there'll be partial restoration within the next 3 days.
Okay. So maybe not for the 17 states that are affected, maybe a number of states will receive electricity.
And he went on to say they're working with security agencies to access the grid world currently occupied by vandals.
Okay.
He also added that within the next 14 days, the repairs will be completed and the power will be fully restored to the north. So how are we sure that when these repairs are completed, we will not have the same vandals or terrorists do the same thing that they did before?
That's the thing. That's $1 million question. But for starters, to let electricity be restored to these parts first. I can't imagine living in darkness for days on end. It is not palatable at all. So I do hope this is resolved as quickly as possible. Yeah.
Very true.
Now you talked about the price in the hike in the price of fuel, and how the CSOs are saying that they smell a revolt. In fact, they are calling for a revolt
from Nigerians.
From Nigerians, and then the U.S. and the federal government are setting up a situation room to resolve conflict. I think it's tied to this thing.
You think so?
I think so.
How so?
Yeah, because the CSOs, these people are the civil society organizations.
Yeah.
They hold sway in Nigeria. When they speak and when they cough, people listen. So I'm thinking, just as you said earlier on, that the federal government is being proactive. They know that Nigerians are very unhappy right now. It's not just the increase in the price of fuel. Michael is calling back. Michael, please go ahead.
So I thought I was having a serious network challenge that will not hear you. So the point I want to react to this price of oil, because I think was it 2 weeks back, this person that was on air on the IEPA analysis that was on air, talking about price control, that is this thing is being controlled by OPEC. Really the person is called today, I would have loved to ask him, is this one being controlled by OPEC or NNPCL or Nigeria team? Because this every day, 50 naira, 20 naira increment, this is still coming from the OPEC or it is from NNPC or Nigeria team.
All right, Michael, you are in luck. You know, the particular person you are talking about is the person we are having on board today.
And he just joined us.
He just joined us. The stars are aligned, I'm telling you.
Thank you for joining. Michael will get Shijibomi to answer your question. Yes.
Coming from OPEC.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
I want to talk about this black out of 13.
Okay.
All right.
You know that on the past on Monday, Tuesday, or yeah, but I've not called in because of life. Even this morning, that first time I was sorry, there was no life here in the FCC.
Wow.
Even at this moment, people are running on jail, not the whole game is fixed.
Wow.
So sorry about that.
So that shows that the blackout is affecting a lot of areas. Wow. Thank you, Michael. Let's get Shijibomi to answer your question. Thank you for calling. But let's have Shijibomi, Adebi Shijibomi Bennett. He's a social commentator. Thank you for joining us, Shijibomi Bennett.
Thank you for having me. Good morning and good morning to the viewers.
Good morning. Yeah. I don't know if you heard Michael's question. Well, he was directing.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so Michael was referring to, I think you had,
the last time he was on board.
We had you on the show where we're talking about the increase, if it's OPEC, if it's NNPC, and what have you. And this morning we have the update that fuel price has increased again to sell at 1,025 naira in Lagos and 1,060 naira in Abuja, and at other prices in other states. So let's get your reaction to this, and let's have you answer Michael's question. Is this an NNPC thing? Is this an OPEC thing? Let's get an all-round answer.
Yes, we the last time that we discussed, I also mentioned the fact that the prices are not going to be stable. I will have a situation whereby the prevailing market market demands and dollar, which is forex, also will determine what this will be, what the price of petroleum products will be per time.
Yeah. And
a good way to look at it is the price of diesel.
Okay.
So for people that use diesel for a lot of their processes, maybe industrial or even mobile, like the trucks and all that, they are used to this because today it can be 1,300, tomorrow it can be 1,250. Diesel had been totally deregulated before now, over the years. So people are already used to that. But because a lot of us use petrol, we're just starting to get used to that. So if Michael could just use the diesel parameters and the diesel situation to look at it, then it will be understandable, and it will be clearer to him that when you have total deregulation of a sector and of a product, that is what you will get.
Yeah, so what he wants to know exactly is this an OPEC thing, or is this a local thing? Is it just Nigeria? Let me draw your attention to this headline. Maybe this would make you understand better his question. Sarah talked about it earlier on. It's on the front page of the Vanguard. It says, petrol price up third time in 60 days as crude price drops. So on the international scene, the price of crude has dropped. But in Nigeria, it is increasing. How do you explain that?
Yes, like I said, if you look at the price of the fluctuations in the forex market, as of yesterday, what is the dollar to a naira? So those are the real issue here. The elephant in the room is not the price of international, not the international price.
Oh, okay.
It's that dollar fluctuation until we can do something with our dollar. Imagine today, irrespective of the of the OPEC price of crude oil, imagine that a dollar goes for maybe 200 naira or 300 naira. We won't be saying what we're saying, if you get what I mean. So there are so many conditions and parameters that affect this thing. And sometimes dollar goes down. Price of crude oil goes down in terms of dollar rate. It's just marginal. But compare it to when the dollar rate goes up, and it is not marginal. So the difference we could have saved is eaten up, usurped by the fluctuation in forex, and that just takes that just swallows everything, and even makes it be more expensive. So you could see the marginal increases from 998 to 1025, and tomorrow we thank God that the Middle East is gradually becoming more stable now. So we could have a situation whereby if the price of crude oil drops very well to like maybe a $60 per barrel, that we could have a drop also in the price of petrol in Nigeria.
Okay. Right. Okay, so still on this conversation, let's talk about the president and his engagement with the chairman of the Dangote group, Aliko Dangote. Now, we have reports that on the Vanguard newspaper as well, that President Tinubu and Dangote ask stakeholders in the oil industry to stop reliance on importation. This is just as the president has summoned Wale Edun and a couple of others. But let's understand this whole conversation. He has summoned Wale Edun, Dangote Kyari, that's the NNPC boss. Let's understand the situation around fuel importation. Dangote now is telling them to stop importation and come get directly from him, right? Over the course of a couple of weeks now, we know that Dangote had petrol ready. NNPCL reportedly lifted a couple of liters, but there was a conversation around pricing that we didn't get headway on. So how can we navigate from here? Are we saying that, okay, we see the dollar is fluctuating, forex affecting here and there. If only we can reach a stable agreement or conversation between the federal government, or will I say NNPCL and Dangote, we might resolve this problem to an extent. Is that the conversation we should be having, considering the president and Dangote, would I say, joining forces together now?
Yes. Dangote is a businessman, and he will want to do everything in his capacity to make sure that he profits. Let me put it like that. Dangote said something yesterday that was profound. He said he has about maybe 500 million liters of crude oil in his tanks, and it costs him money every day to keep that in there. Because if the marketers come and pick that up and he's able to, replace it, because it costs money to just put it there. Now, Dangote wants to profit, and Nigerians want petroleum products. how do we marry that? The marketers are saying, some of the Ipman guys, that they are looking at it, it's not confirmed. They are looking at it from the perspective of it's going to be cheaper to import petroleum products to Nigerians, to Nigeria and for Nigerians. What do they mean? That if Dangote is selling to them, for example, at 1,050 naira, they can get petroleum products into Nigeria at maybe, illustratively, please, and 50 naira. That makes it cheaper for them. That makes more profit for them. That makes it more cheaper for Nigeria.
But isn't this also
now,
dependent on dollar foreign exchange? Wouldn't that also affect it?
That is where we're going. Now, some countries will do anything to what's it called, and some companies will do anything to just take out what they already have, because they know now that Nigeria is in competition because of Dangote. But before I get there, now any country, please let's establish this fact: any country will not take energy security lightly. So putting all your eggs in one basket is dangerous. In as much as we want Dangote to profit, he has done a lot. He has helped to Nigerians, and even though as a business person, but it takes a lot to invest in a sector that the federals failed. So even though we have that, we can have that conversation. At the same time, Nigeria must have a backup plan. So what of if anything happens to, God forbid, anything untoward happen to the refinery or to Dangote tomorrow, or Dangote just believes that, oh, I can deal with, which Ghana is trying to tell him to do now, I can deal with Ghana and some other countries ahead of Nigeria and profit more. I don't need to sell to Nigeria. So what happens? So we'll be back to square one. So at the end of the day, you have to balance. Import some, so that if anything happens with Dangote within some time, you can have the backup. Remember that the last time that we had a major fuel scarcity in Nigeria, it was because where they were getting the petroleum products from abroad, those companies and those countries wanted to do a turnaround maintenance in their own refinery that was going to last 1 week or 2 weeks.
Right.
And all of a sudden, we had a lot of problems in Nigeria.
Right.
So energy security cannot be just toyed with like that. So, and you were saying something about, I didn't want to lose my train of thought. So that was why I quickly moved away from it. But you said something which I said I wanted to clarify. But if I remember, I will also clarify that.
Okay, that will be some other time when we bring you on board again. But you've been fantastic on the show this morning. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
You.
So we've been talking with Sijibomi Adebi Bennett. He is a social commentator. So Sarah, he is saying that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Import some and then patronize Dangote. But this does not sit well at all with the chairman of Dangote Refineries.
You see,
at
all this is, how would I put it? This is from expert analysis. But you know what? Nigerians or the common man or the vulnerable don't understand these things.
Yeah.
If we put it that way. All they want to see is they are able to afford fuel. Now we're talking about the fluctuation in diesel. We're talking about how that might be the case with petrol and what have you. So if I'm supposed to be earning 70,000 naira, which is the minimum wage, I'm supposed to deal with this fluctuation because it has not been. There's just so much that. I get it from the expert analysis, but we need to be able to break it down and make living convenient and comfortable for Nigerians.
Absolutely.
Nigerians, you are going to how many people do you want? How do you want to explain to the bus rider, the tricycle rider, the woman that is grinding pepper that needs to buy petrol for her machine, the woman that sells drinks, that runs a cold room or a frozen food store? You can't
go and start telling her Forex or OPEC. They don't even know
what
what
want to see that, I can afford to buy it. there's business here and there. But because we could not have Shijibomi join us early enough, we could not really
Dissect
expand
the issue.
on this. But we would definitely, like you said, when we have him join us again.
Absolutely. And you know, something he kept harping up on was the fact that this thing is forex based. Fix the naira, and all will be well. We do hope that the federal government is listening and does something about this. On that note, we'll wrap the segment up. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
Child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you peak in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Something big is in town, something powerful and majestic. A mammoth creation destined to become a legend by all who encounter it. High Impact Planet, Nigeria's biggest family theme park, with facilities designed for friends, families, or large groups under a relaxing atmosphere. Be welcomed by wowing displays of animatronics, thrill out with realistic arcade games, or enjoy a number of thrilling hard racing park rides. Experience the 5D and 12D cinemas and challenge your mates with bumper cars and go-kart races. Don't forget to slide into the ice rink or simply take time out to enjoy a pizza at our delightful restaurant and dessert spot, or at the exquisite club lounge. High Impact Planet, 12 Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Ibafo, opposite MFM Prayer City. Visit high-impactplanet.com for details and inquiries.
Welcome to the high side of life. Join us every day at High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
I just want to be
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
You're welcome back. If you just joined us, it's the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. I am Vivian, and right opposite me is Sarah. This segment is very interactive. It's called Views from the Net. We'll push out a question, social media, and then you make your contributions. So this was what we asked, right? What is the worst excuse you've ever heard before? I can't think you've ever used before, right? Okay, what's the worst excuse you've ever used or heard before? I can't remember any, though. I don't know about you, Sarah.
None is coming to my mind now, but I'm sure before the segment ends.
Yeah, something will come up.
Yeah,
we've got this one from Mrs. K from Ogun. It's very interesting. She says, it was when a guy left the workplace without an excuse from duty, and he was asked to come back to work immediately. Now, he was working in Osun State, and he traveled to Cross River State. And the only excuse he could give to his boss to prove to his boss that his absence from duty was urgent was that his father had died. In reality, his father was doing fine. So Mrs. K says this was the worst excuse I have ever heard in my life.
You know, that's a lot. Most people that I've heard that have said, oh, like you said, my father or my mother or whatever, people that use that excuse of their parents passing on. Some of them have actually lost their parents. But
before using...
Yes. Mrs. K says this person had not lost his father. That's extra. That's like... I wonder how the father would feel if he finds out that his son had to lie about him passing on as an excuse. I think we all need to know when to draw the line. And
that's an extreme case, yes.
But let's see what Mary from Surulere has to say. Mary says, one time I was supposed to go to my friend's house for a study group, but I really didn't feel like it. So I told her my phone fell into the toilet and stopped working. She actually believed me and felt bad for my phone, not knowing I was home chilling.
Can you imagine?
Okay. I think one is coming to my head now.
Oh.
So you know this thing where you agree to a hangout or you agree to go out at the beginning, maybe they tell you like 2 weeks before or 3 weeks, and you're like, no problem now, that day, I don't have anything I'm doing, I'll go with you, we'll chill. 2 days to the day, you're already like, am I sure?
You want to go?
I want to go, and then the day comes and you're like, no, I just have to come up with something. I think I had to say something about my stomach. I was in so much pain.
Oh, Lord.
I could not leave the house. I can't even put my leg on the floor. Just because I didn't want to go. I just didn't feel like it anymore. Yeah, that just came to my head.
And you didn't want to say no, and you didn't want to just say, okay, I don't want to go anymore.
I'd been, unavailable. Most times I say, okay, let's go out. I'm like, oh, no, I'm busy. So I had to do that.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I don't know if I'm saying the excuse was fantastic, but I'm saying, well, I don't know what I'm saying.
I could have just said, you know what, I'm not up for it. I don't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
But I just had to lie.
I know, right? Maybe you didn't want to hurt you didn't want to hurt the feelings of the other person.
I just had to give the excuse that, you know what, I don't feel so great. My tummy hurts.
Oh, gosh. All right, let's see what Kunle from Ikeja is saying. I told my boss I couldn't come in because the rain was so heavy and it flooded my street. Meanwhile, I was just tired and didn't want to leave my bed. The rain didn't even fall in my area that day. This is a risk. It's a risk. So what if your boss find out that it hadn't rained in your area, Kunle?
Well, you know, except the boss was fine, but have you not found situations where you are coming and it rains in your area and you get to your destination, it's not raining?
Yeah,
and you're telling them, I'm late because it was raining, and they're like, looking at you like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Like 4 weeks ago, I was going to my brother's place and getting to the Otedola Bridge from Alausa down towards the Otedola Bridge, approaching Berger bus stop. For those that were going, it rained. But if you are coming on the other side, it wasn't raining.
Gosh.
The road was dry. In fact, when I was telling my brother and my mom that I'm coming, I'm chilling because it's raining. It was raining at Elukbeju at the time. It's raining. We're like, it's not raining here. So imagine that kind of situation. And you're trying to prove that it's raining and then it's not raining.
Yeah.
Things like that happen. But
It does.
Kunle, no, the lie that your house is flooded. The street is flooded. Abba.
Oh,
But let's
gosh.
see Chiamaka from Abba. Chiamaka says, one time I had a date and last minute I realized I wasn't ready to go. So I told the guy that my tailor didn't finish my dress on time. The funny thing is, I hadn't even gone to collect the dress from the start.
Oh, Lord.
Just to avoid going on the date.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
You'll be surprised. Some men will say, you know what, don't worry, I'm going to send the dress over to you right now.
So what do you do then?
I don't know.
That's a good answer. Well, I've got Kemi from Abeokuta, and Kemi says, a friend told me she couldn't reply my messages because she dropped her phone in a pot of soup. I beg your pardon. I didn't believe her until I actually saw her with a new phone. She had legit boiled it. Kemi from Abeokuta. So it wasn't an excuse then. It was the truth. But how do you boil your... Okay, it fell in mistakenly, yeah.
I don't pray to experience that.
You don't experience it, yeah?
I don't pray to.
Yeah, I
But
know.
Bola from Akure has something different. Bola says, what's excuse? I told someone I was late because I was helping my mom with cooking. But the truth is, I actually just overslept. I don't even know how she believed it. My mom doesn't let anyone else touch our cooking.
Wow.
So apparently your friend doesn't really know your mom that much to
absolutely.
let her know that your mom doesn't let anyone touch her cooking.
Yeah,
So
apparently her
you
friend
gotta
doesn't
leave
even know how much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got Sheyi from Akure. Sheyi says, I once told my friend I missed his call because my phone was in the fridge. This is wild, I'm telling you. It's actually bizarre. And then she says, I didn't have any better excuse at that point. So I just said my phone was in there, cooling down. He just looked confused, right? Is that what he's saying?
It was just
he was just too confused to even ask any more questions. This is Sheyi from Akure. Of course, I'll be confused. What else will I
You
say?
just left your phone
in the fridge
to cool. How?
Was your phone overheating?
I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm lost, Sheyi. How?
Sheyi's friend too was lost and didn't know what else to say.
Wow. Well, but let us know. Do well to call us 012-182-0154. What is the worst excuse you've ever heard or used? Call in and let us know. But let's see Daniel from Benin. Daniel said, one friend told me he couldn't join me at the gym because he didn't have his lucky socks and he doesn't work out without them. I was like, Oga, is it the socks or the workouts that is important? It's not your business. He said he does not have the lucky socks. He does not have the lucky socks.
What's the lucky socks, for crying out loud?
Lucky socks is lucky socks. You wear it and you get lucky in the gym.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
You just do the exercises very easily. You just get one kind of superpower. Once you put on the socks, one superpower just comes on you and you are jet, you are fired up.
Well, Daniel, you've got a cheerleader in Sarah here.
Yes,
So
your lucky socks is very important.
Bravo. Well, I've got Fatima from Kano. Fatima says, once I forgot to call my cousin back. So I just told her that I had a headache. So I had a headache so bad I couldn't look at my phone screen. Meanwhile, I was just scrolling through social media like nothing happened. Fatima from Kano.
I've done that thing before. I didn't want to respond to a message.
Yeah.
And the person texted very early and I didn't feel like responding. I didn't want to talk. And later on, when the person eventually called, the person called twice, and then I eventually picked, and the person was like, I'm like, see, I've not been my phone.
Oh.
I just dropped my phone. I was having a headache, and the light, the phone, the screen, the brightness, I just had to drop my phone. I've not even checked it. I said, didn't you see my message? I've not even checked it. I'm just...
So you did the
I'm sorry. I'm not a bad person.
You did the exact same thing Fatima did. That's lying through your teeth.
You know, sometimes you're not just in the mood for certain conversations, and you know how people are. Sometimes you just have to. It's not.
Massage their ego. Can you not? You've changed.
I've changed.
Yay!
If I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, you can just say.
The best I would say is I couldn't take calls at the time, or I couldn't respond to messages at the time.
Chicken.
That's what I do now. So if you call me and I don't answer your call, sometimes I see the call. I just don't answer it at the time. And eventually I might text you, oh, I'm sorry, I missed your call. I couldn't take calls at the time.
Which is something I do a lot.
You don't now have the rights. It depends on the relationship we have, though. So now say, why couldn't you take calls?
No.
What were you doing?
No, you can't
like
ask
I said,
me that.
it depends on the kind of relationship you have with the person.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's somebody that can't ask you that question, you can answer. But if you don't have to know, I just could not take calls at the time. Simple.
That's all. I think the ball is in your court now.
But Obina from Owerri says this. A guy once told me he missed his job interview because his village people showed up in his dream and wanted him not to go. I was shocked. I didn't even know what to say. Maybe he just wasn't ready. How are you sure his village people did not truly appear to him?
Sarah, you know what's cracking me up? The expression on your face when you were reading this comment, it was like, okay, what's this now?
His village people appeared to him. And you say, you know what, that job interview that you might probably get and make you successful.
Don't go.
Don't go.
And you
Stay
didn't
at
go.
home.
Oh, gosh.
Sleep. Eat. Play PES. Watch football. Just relax. And he said, what? You know what? I believe people are right. Let me just chill.
Village people are not that powerful.
Okay, do they? Let's not even get into that conversation. I would have said, do they actually exist?
That's a valid question.
That's where I would have started from.
Yeah, that's a valid question.
That's where I would have started from.
Gosh,
or
you
is it
missed...
just your mind? Or is it just...
I don't get it. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. But let's see what this one says. Chiamaka from Uyo. Chiamaka says, I asked my friend why she didn't send her project, and she said the document refused to save on her laptop. I wanted to believe her, but the way she said it, I knew she just forgot to do it. Chiamaka from Uyo.
You know, some laptops are very selective on the kind of documents that can save. So this project was one of the documents that
no, it's the way she said it, that the document refused to save on her laptop.
Yes, now, because the laptop selects documents that can save, you know. But let's see Chidi from Abuja. Chidi says... I'm sorry. I once told someone I couldn't meet up because I couldn't find my other shoe. It was true, but they didn't believe me. They thought it was an excuse, so I just went with it. Chidi from Abuja.
So it wasn't an excuse?
It reminds me of a movie I saw one time. Very funny, annoying movie. I think I wasted my time. You know, a woman was going for a party with her husband, and she had already picked the outfit and all of that. And she started looking for one leg of the shoe. And they turned the whole house upside down. And she had other shoes that could. She said, no.
It must be that shoe.
That shoe. This just reminded me. And I'm like, I sat down to actually watch that movie.
Yeah, so it wasn't useless anyway. You're sharing it with us now. So it did something for you.
So Chidi was looking for one leg of his shoe. But where could it have been though?
Where could it have been? Also, couldn't
maybe someone hid it to punish you or joke with you, play prank on you.
But I was going to ask Chidi, if you had another pair of shoes, why didn't you just...
So maybe he didn't, or maybe what he wanted to wear. That, you know, there are some outfits that are very selective.
Absolutely.
You cannot wear some kind of shoe or carry some kind of bags or whatever.
So maybe that is why the woman in your movie insisted on using that particular...
That was just a waste of time.
Well, let's find out what Sheyi from Ibadan is saying. Sheyi says, one time I asked my friend why he didn't come to church, and he told me, I was about to leave the house when my... Why are you laughing, Sarah? He said, I was about to leave the house when my boxers tore unexpectedly. I took it as a sign from God to stay home. I couldn't argue with him after that. Sheyi from Ibadan.
Sheyi, you just know to go to church. There's no sign anywhere.
It's not Sheyi. It's Sheyi that is giving us the excuse of his friend now.
Sheyi, your friend. Because what is that? It's just like I hear people say, oh, there's this fetish or this myth, or would I call it superstition?
Yeah.
So some people say when they were going out, like they use their
left leg
or leg or something to hit something. So that means you should not go out. Some people believe in it. Some people, I don't. Like, that's why I said it's like a myth or something.
It's a superstitious belief, yeah.
So some people believe that once that happens, some people say if it happens twice or 3 times or something, they should go back home.
Yeah. Some people say
will
something,
happen.
if you go somewhere on a Wednesday, there's every likelihood that you won't succeed in whatever you do.
Ha!
Yeah. It's superstition. It's not true, guys.
That's why I say sometimes it's the mind.
It's the
what
mind.
you accept or what you believe is what
that
you start
becomes
to
your
pan out
reality.
for you.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we're starting to turn this to motivation. And
But this one is it's bizarre. How can you say your boxers tore unexpectedly and then it was a sign from God? Jeez, I've never heard it before. Sarah, I think you're next.
Okay, let's see Blessing from Uyo. Blessing says, I was supposed to return a call, but I didn't. So I told them I slept off, but in reality, I was just binge watching a series. When they asked which episode I was on, I quickly changed the topic. Thank you, Blessing, so that they will not cast you.
Yeah.
And see that I have gone far.
Yeah, I got Chinedu from Port Harcourt who says, once I was supposed to send a document and I totally forgot. When they asked, I said my computer crashed. Meanwhile, I was just out of data. I eventually sent it, but they were convinced I'd had a serious tech issue. Chinedu from Port Harcourt.
Sometimes when I see some excuses, I'm like, how do people even think about these things?
Yeah.
You see some very weird, funny things, and what made you actually think to this point? But the last one we have here is Olu from Lagos. Olu says, I told a friend I couldn't meet him because my African time was acting up. I said I was on my way, but moving in African time speed. He just laughed and gave up, asking when I'd eventually arrive. See the African time. So for those that don't understand, African time is, okay, you say an event starts at 1 p.m. African time is like 3 p.m.
And that's not even nice at all.
Yeah. So, and they now do it that way because they know that people will put African time.
Yeah.
So I want my event to start at 2, but I know that if I tell people 2, people won't start arriving till 4. So guess what? I'll tell them 2, but I know I'm starting at 4. That's what people are doing now. So Olu said he was moving in African time.
So those who are not Africans, Uncle, what do they do?
That's what they call it, African time.
Oh, gosh. You know, this has been interesting, and I'm wondering, how did the producer even come up with this? Kudos to you. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. The clincher for me was the dude whose boxer tore unexpectedly, and he said it was a sign from God.
Right, not to go to church. But that's it on our views from the net segment. We hope you had a good time as much as we did. You want to look out for what we'll be throwing out tomorrow. We'll go on a break now. When we're back, we'll be moving into another conversation in economy. We'll be right back.
Harangue, harangue, harangue.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. Vivian and I are still here, and we just finished our views from the night. Right now, we're moving into another segment. This is where we talk about topical issues. And this morning, we're talking about currency devaluation and how it fuels economic hardship across Nigeria. Ask yourself, what exactly does this even mean? Now, currency devaluation in Nigeria has become a significant driver of economic hardship, fueling inflation and widespread poverty. The naira has plummeted to historic lows, trading at approximately 1,740 naira to the US dollar, representing a 230% loss in value over the past year. Now, this situation has been exacerbated by the removal of fuel subsidies, which has caused gas prices to triple and transportation costs to spike, further straining household budgets. Now, the inflation rate has reached an alarming 29.9%, the highest in nearly 3 decades, leading to an increase in the prices of food and other essentials. As a result, many Nigerians are now forced to make difficult choices, with some reporting they can only afford one meal a day. Now, despite government interventions such as releasing food items from reserves and plans to regulate prices, we have yet to adequately address the scale of the crisis, leaving citizens in a state of desperation and anger. Now, this economic turmoil has led to protest and social unrest, underlining the urgency for sustainable solutions to restore stability in the Nigerian economy. And joining us to have the conversation this morning is Ayo Emakiome. He's an economist and the CEO, Coinbox Limited. Good morning, Ayo Emakiome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lagos.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's our delight to have you. So we're talking about how the currency devaluation has affected hardship and fueled hardship across Nigeria. And the first thing we would like to understand in this conversation with you this morning, would like to put it this way. What underlying economic conditions led to the Naira's devaluation, and how do these conditions relate to global financial trends?
Underlying conditions that led to devaluation. I will start with what devaluation is, first of all. Devaluation is simply a deliberate reduction in the value of the currency. Okay, and usually countries engage in it as a strategic step. The most common reason they do this is for balance of trade advantage. So the essence of devaluation usually is to increase, encourage local purchase, okay, so that people would buy locally made items more than the imported alternative, especially when the level of import is now far higher than the level of export, which is a Nigerian situation. But over time, it's found out that some countries are forced to devalue and not just doing it out of strategic intent. So some countries make sure their currency is lower than the dollar, like Japan and China, so that because they are exporting countries. So as long as the value of their currency is low, a lot of people will find their products affordable. But a lot of African nations devalue out of necessity, not strategy. Okay, and Nigeria is not exempt from that. The devaluation, I would not say, yes, just like you said, is an underlying factor, but it's not the main reason for the hardship in the economy. It's actually a symptom of what is happening in the economy. What do I mean? Number one, Nigeria is an import-dependent economy. We import. It's now a cultural thing, no more.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. It's now a cultural thing, no more an economic reason that it is the imported item that is better than the locally made item. So because of that, we're importing so much, and CBN was the economy, the government was forced to devalue such that they reduced the value of the currency so that there will be more exports than imports. But is this solve the problem? No. Why? Because devaluation is a symptom that there's a problem in the economy. And what's the problem in this case? One, the inflation rate, just like you mentioned, is astronomical and it keeps rising. Okay? Then we have the issue of labor. Do we have labor? Yes. Is the labor engaged? No. There are a lot of people which we know too, the indices are there. The level of unemployment is astronomical. Okay? Then it's supposed to encourage devaluation would not have been necessary if there was industry. Or it would have even been highly necessary if there was industry, depending on what strategy government is employing. But in this case, do we have industry? No. Many companies are shutting down every day. We know of the popular multinationals that have shut down and left the shores of this country. And so, based on that, the country is forced to constantly devalue. Even the exchange rates before this current devaluation did not have a proper reflection of the value of our currency, such that the difference between the official rates and the black market rates or the parallel market rates of our currency, that of our currency exchange rates, there was a wide gap, which led to all the round tripping and all the illegalities that some other groups, companies, and individuals carried out until last year when there was some form of normalization. And it's the normalization that has been ongoing since, which is why the value has been going to reflect the true value, because the forces of demand and supply has to balance somewhere. At that point, that's when you now know the actual value of the currency in reflection of the state of the economy in also now showing the exchange rates.
Okay, Ayo, let me come in here. You know, earlier on in her introduction, Sarah said that the Naira has plummeted to a historic low, trading at approximately 1,740 Naira to the US dollar, representing a 230% loss in value over the past year. This is where I want you to focus on. The loss in value, a 230% loss in value. If you remember earlier on in the year, some students, Nigerian students in the UK, were asked to come back because they didn't have enough monies in the bank for their school fees due to the devaluation in Naira. What they had saved now became, it didn't match up eventually. So I want you to describe in expert terms, though, what this means, a 230% loss in value over the past year. So you could be a millionaire 2 years ago and you're no longer that today. That's what it means, right?
Yes, you're very correct. In my days of growing up, when you had $1 million Naira in your account, you were considered a millionaire by any standard. Okay? So, but today, you have $1 million Naira in your account, you are just a millionaire here in Nigeria. Out of the country, if you don't have 174 million Naira in your account, you are not a millionaire today. So even if you have 10 million or 100 million, you are still not yet a millionaire by international standard. Okay? So, what am I saying? Devaluation has been forced on the economy because of the inflation rates and the various other economic indices that are that are depreciating the value of the currency. And what do I mean? The economy has been bleeding long before now, and government have been pretending that everything is okay, and they kept saying everything is fine, while they were feeding fat, while we were suffering. But now, with the new government, they now decided, let us face reality. And how? The first thing is remove that false figures that are saying that the economy is good, where official rates will be like 500, I'll be 600-700 Naira to $1, while the parallel market is telling you 1,740 Naira. So that was removed. Immediately it was removed. The market, so it hasn't been exactly a devaluation thing. The market has been balancing itself. So the CBN has no choice than to always adjust the rates in line with what the market is saying, and has been happening. They've done it so many times so far in the last 1 year, but it's all market correction. So truly, one of the things that devaluation affects is savings, which is what you just mentioned now. Those students saved up a lot of money, which as at that time was okay based on the official exchange rate, but it was never okay. So when reality now hits, they had to come back because that wasn't the truth. So now everybody is no more, gone are those days that people will say the economy is bad and someone is saying, no, look at the official exchange rates. We are now faced with the reality. It is a thing that has long been coming. So now that it has happened, government has to face the reality of addressing the key indices, because this devaluation that was forced on government was forced on them because of the key economic indices that are failing, not devaluation. They had no choice than to devalue. So now that the currency is being reflected in the true value it is, government is now forced to face the true realities of things, which is one, addressing key issues like inflation, GDP, unemployment, because it's those things that will now stabilize the rates. Because the issue is not even the devaluation per se. The issue is that, okay, I have saved up $1,000. My school fees is $800, so I have more than enough. Then in 2 weeks' time, currency goes up to $2,000. My $200 extra now comes to making my money I saved to $600. So I can't go to school or do anything anymore. But if I know that between now and the next 10 years, $2,000 is the exchange rate and it will remain like that because the economy is stable, then government is addressing the key issues and I can go to school abroad if I want to.
All right.
Also, if the currency is stable, companies can start. I mean, industry, that's manufacturing outfits, can now start their business and plan and succeed and survive. But now they are all dying, which has to be addressed.
All right. So,
if I know the economy, okay.
Let me just interrupt you for a bit so we can, take on a lot of questions because of our time. Is there a way that diversifying Nigeria's economy away from oil exports, can help to stabilize the naira in the long term? If yes, what are these ways?
What you're asking now is what is already ongoing. The economy is actually virtually diversified. When you check the numbers, oil and gas, that's diversification now is in line of contribution to GDP. Okay? And oil and gas, which used to be a 90% contributor to the GDP, is now somewhere around 40% or so, which means is non-oil factors that are contributing 60% to the GDP. The only challenge now is that our exports is very low. It is still oil and gas that is producing 90% of our FX, while 10% is being done by the same industries that are contributing 60% to the GDP. So what can we do? One, government has to further encourage exports and then encourage industry. Because the truth is, most of what we do is still dependent on foreign exchange, that's foreign currency. But if we have industries that are producing all these things we export at the standard, because that has also been an issue. I've always told people, the day we solve our problems, the day we define what is the Nigerian standard, we don't have a Nigerian standard. And so we go to where there are standards. Because like now, let's look at car manufacturing, for example. We have made the Nigerian cars, but there is nobody saying this is the standard of the cars abroad and this is the standard of the Nigerian car. So they match. So as nobody is saying that, nobody is interested in buying the Nigerian car. Even the government, yes, they are taking some baby steps, but they need to do more to make people realize the Nigerian car is of international standard and we can use it. So we need to address trade. We need to address the issue with exports. Because when we export more, we have more foreign currency and the demand, it's with that one, it can withstand the pressures of demand. But right now, we don't have enough foreign currency in the economy, and so with that, the pressure of demand is increasing the exchange rate. This is the last quarter of the year. This is when a lot of people come back home, and when they come back home, there is more pressure on, there's more demand for foreign currency because they need to change the currencies they brought in. They need to exchange it for the naira. We don't have enough naira to meet up to that in reality now, not physical cash, but in terms of transactions. So in line with that, the exchange rate will go up. That is, the dollar is still stronger and will still keep getting stronger. So the best way to address is to address the key economic indices. That's just it.
So would you say this administration is actually doing that? My question is hydra-headed. First one, would you say that this administration is actually doing what you just suggested?
Yes, they are doing it with a lot of baby steps. They are saying we should be patient with them, but we need them to start taking adult steps, not baby steps, because the situation too is a quicksand situation. They need to act with emergency, else the economy would, the person in the quicksand will die. But right now, they are still saying, you know what, we need to walk about 5 kilometers to get rope, we'll negotiate the price, then come back and see how we can pull you out of the quicksand. By the time you come back,
the person is gone. Yes, that's the thing.
So that's the challenge.
That's the challenge, and it's a big one.
They need to treat it as an emergency. Look for, okay, what do we have around? There are sticks around. Use them to pull the person out. But they are still saying this is how it should be done and not addressing the key issues as an emergency.
Right. I like that.
That's justice.
I like that you said that. Before Sarah wraps it up, though, I have this quick question. Not too long ago, the World Bank had said that Nigerians should please not reverse the economic reforms of this administration, that this administration is towing the right path. Now, you seem to say that this administration, too, is doing well because...
In baby steps.
Yeah, in baby steps. So would you say what the World Bank said is true, and would you say this administration is towing the right path?
For both, yes. They are towing the right path, but they need to do it, one, with a sense of urgency, two, over a larger economic indices, not just few, because they are, so far, they are being selective. They just pick one, they deal with it, they move on, and then they pick another. But this is an economy, so you can't deal with only one thing at a time. You have to do it in a form of holistic solution. And so that's why it seems as if they are not working. They really are working, but they are taking baby steps, and they are doing it, you know, pick and how do I explain? Just cherry picking, which doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't
at all. So maybe we need to go into giant steps right now. But it's been a delight, you know. We have to wrap up the conversation with you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Ayo Makiome, and for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me. And welcome on board. As Sarah, your partner for today. Yes.
He knows our language, Ayo knows how we do it in-house. He's a good person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was an insightful
Have a wonderful day.
And you too, we wish you the very same. We just had a conversation with Ayo Makiome, an economist and CEO Coinbox Limited, on currency devaluation and how it falls economic hardship across Nigeria. Ayo believes that this administration is towing the right direction with baby steps. But maybe we need to go harder with giant and realistic steps.
And you know, you said something, or he said something, that they are cherry picking. That doesn't work. You can't cherry pick
at all.
You need to take a holistic look at a situation like you know, we have in Nigeria, and make sure that, like you said, the people are not at the mercy of these big grammar that the organizations like the World Bank come up with all the time. So we wrap it up right now. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
Like you mentioned, you said 3 times, the grid actually was disturbed one time, and we deliberately shut it down the second time because of the explosion of the transformer at Jebba Class. Before this, the last disturbance of the grid was about 4 months ago, which meant that we have been managing the grid. Let me tell you, the truth of the matter is we have old infrastructure. We have a national grid that is more than 50 years old. We have a national grid whose transmission lines are old. The towers are falling. And the substations, the transformers are old. In fact, the transformer that actually exploded in Jebba was 47 years old. We've been trying to revamp this, to change them, but they cannot all be changed.
Now, we just saw a video of Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, addressing the press on the incessant power grid, national grid collapse. And he stated that it collapsed one time. The second time, they turned it off because of an explosion that happened at Jebba. And one of the things that he said is the fact that we have old infrastructure, that we have a national grid that is about 50 years old. And even the transformer that collapsed at Jebba is about 47 years old. These are things that need to be addressed. So are we saying that before this person came into office, there was somebody in that office before now? And what exactly are the steps that this current minister is taking to see that this sector is calling for a revamp? It's saying we have old infrastructure. How exactly is it trying to have us achieve this revamp?
Yeah, that's a billion-dollar question, because analysts have always said that obsolete equipment, that's a problem. That's the bane of the power sector. You remember that under the administration of former President Obasanjo, Olusegun Obasanjo, and his successor, Goodluck Jonathan, billions, if not trillions, had been sunk into that particular sector.
I'm sure that even with this administration or this current minister, a lot of money has been disbursed to that sector. So what exactly has it been used for, if not revamping? I don't know if we have comments. If we have comments, producer, let us see the comment. But people have been calling for the minister to also be discharged of his responsibilities. We have California French is saying, if other countries can achieve 24/7 electricity, why is Nigeria still stuck with excuses? It's 2024. This shouldn't be a reality anymore. And the person goes on to say, until we address systemic inefficiencies like aging infrastructure and weak transmission lines, the grid collapse will remain a recurring issue. Solutions need more than explanation. This hits it.
Absolutely. And you remember we talked about expert opinions. More comments. Okay. Dane says your time as minister at the hearsay power grid dig always collapse. That's in Pidgin. Well, this one says, so waiting me the solution. Still Pidgin. So waiting me the solution because this blackout too much. Now, Sarah.
Solution is the next thing.
Solution is what we want, yeah. And you know, you said earlier on that you're wondering why during the cabinet reshuffle it didn't affect the power minister, because the presidency had said that the reshuffle was as a result of the scorecard Nigerians gave to him, the president. So in his estimation, the power minister is probably doing well.
I wonder the yardstick, just as I'm trying to remember this video we played.
Yeah.
When the minister, I'm trying to remember where they were asking the scorecard, what scorecard they used to do his evaluation. Yeah, I'm trying to remember
the particular
one, because I know we took it this week, thereabouts. Was it the Minister of Works? Yeah, Works, David Umahi. Yes, where at the end he said, I wonder what was used for your appraisal thereabout. So I would also like to know what was used for the Minister of Power's appraisal. Remember Shehu Sani, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, was even saying there is a need for more rejig, cabinet reshuffling. Because if you ask me, based on the score, I don't know. So that's if there's something going on underneath that is not being made public to Nigerians. Yeah. But based on what we have seen, we are now seeing Band A, Band B, Band C, Band D here and there. And the grid yesterday at night, power went out. And my thought was, hey, I hope the grid has not collapsed again. Because now it's like, let's get ready for it every month. So how then we use the money that is being disbursed to this sector? What exactly is it being used for if we are not revamping? Is it that, okay, you want to create a special budget for revamping of this national grid and transformers? It's not just...
Not to mention the fact that Nigerians pay premium now for electricity, right?
Let's not even go there.
Oh.
The price of getting electricity tariff, those that are metered, and not everybody is even metered. To even get the meter alone,
it's a long process.
Yes, Olumide was sharing his experience how they've been metered and they were still bringing the bill of unmetered whatever.
That's the estimated billing.
Estimated billing. And I'm like, why? Why do we have these things? You want to get an apartment and they tell you, oh, we're going to get the meter. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, they tell you they've applied. But it's taking that long. So what exactly is the yardstick they used to measure? Or what is on the scorecard? How? Because the Minister of Power... Let me just leave my thoughts there.
All right. It's a safe place to leave your thoughts. Our thoughts, actually. So why don't we quickly take a look at the weather forecast for today, and then we'll be right back.
hope you've taken note of your location to understand the weather situation. Let it guide you as you're making your plans. If you need to step out with an umbrella, if you need to shut your windows, do well to follow suit. That's brings us to the end of today's show. It's been a fantastic one. Major thanks to Adebi Shijibomi Bennett as well as Ayo Emakiome. Thank you, Michael, for calling in. To everyone that sent in their comment and to everybody that made the show a success, thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll be here again to grace your screens tomorrow, but until then, I am Sarah Ozo, and so have yourself a very lovely Wednesday.
And I am Vivian Oguche. It was such a pleasure hanging out with you guys today. I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Prospicians, Prospicians, Prospicians.